The head-to-head stats with these two teams are fascinating. They currently stand at 2-1 for the United States of America, Dane. But that one victory is the most recent time that these two teams played. It was in Xiamen, where the Aussies beat them, and then the Americans beat them twice in Jiangxing. So it will be a very tight match. It's a must-win for both. Both teams need to come out firing on all cylinders, with Australia starting the play with serve. Kerry Walsh Jennings at the net. Good play from the American. First point on the board for the USA.
That's how you want to start off if you're Kerry Walsh. Win those broken plays at the net. Throw it back to the Australian side as much as possible. There you see right-handed Kerry Walsh Jennings at the net. Defensive sweat in the back. Right-handed as well with the jump serve.
Wow, good play from the Aussies, Artacho as they call her. The #1 player for Australia, working incredibly hard in the defense to allow her partner Clancy to put that ball away, wearing #2. And here is Talika Clancy for Australia. 27 years of age, out of Adelaide. That's a good serve receive from Brooks Sweat.
Brooks Sweat's going to have to put that ball away. That will be the Australian strategy, to go to Brooks Sweat, try to get her in trouble, but she is one of the most crafty and creative players on tour. She's going to have to figure out a way to put it down. Now, that is the offense you just saw for Australia. That is the way they would like to run their offense every time, on the second contact and catch you off guard. And hopefully Kerry Walsh Jennings has done her homework and stays at the net more often than not and tries to block that.
Kerry Walsh is having a good start to this opening set. Good kill stat early on, and it's a good break for the USA. 4-1, 3 clear. Up goes Kerry Walsh here. Swings that arm, places that ball down the line. That's the confidence boost that the Americans needed, with strong early play. Walsh Jennings again serves. Australia out of position here. Free ball for the USA. Kerry Walsh Jennings puts it down. 5-1 for the Americans.
Really doing a solid job of taking care of the ball when they need to. The Americans in free ball situations here. This all starts off nice little drop serve. The Australians are reeling. You get a free ball opportunity, and then what happens? The United States able to put that ball away and take advantage of the opportunity. I love Brooks Sweat putting up Kerry Walsh Jennings on that second contact.
Understandably, after such an impressive early scoreline from the USA, Australia call their timeout. It's a very early call. Each team is allowed to call 1 30-second break in play per set. Now, they've got to use it now because they're already 4 away, or 4 in front, the United States of America. But it may come to haunt them later on in this set. 30 seconds goes quickly, but what the Australians are hoping is it's just broken the focus and concentration of Kerry Walsh Jennings, looking to continue with this impressive service run. That's a good shot. Now Artacho picking up the serve receive that time rather than her partner Talika Clancy. Australia coached by the former head of the British beach volleyball program, Kirk Pittman.
Yeah, Kirk Pittman, he's a former player himself, played for New Zealand and played with Jason Lockhead, actually, who coaches Phil and Nick. And so I'll tell you what, Kirk was an excellent player, and to have him on your side has really benefited this squad, who got together in 2017, and they already have 5 FIVB wins.
It's the first time that Australia have qualified for the world rank, for the World Championships through their world ranking. And And of course, coming off the back of that 4-star victory in Warsaw in Poland, that was the last major event before these World Championships. It has boosted their confidence, which is why the start by the Americans is still impressive. Oh, dear me, that's a little frustrating. Put that right into the net. It's, of course, Clancy, number 2 on the shirt. The number 2 for the United States of America will take service. This is Brooke Sweat. She's 33 years of age, from Florida. Goes cross court. Good shot, good strike of the ball.
Great hit, cross court to Clancy. And both Clancy and Artacho, they have experience. Both were in the Olympic Games. Artacho got a 19th with Nikki Laird, and Clancy, she got 5th with Louise Bodden before these two connected the year after in 2017.
Good cover again from Mfe. Oh, both players are down. Look at that for a save from Kerry Walsh Jennings. Good play from Australia. Spectacular turn and burn from Clancy.
This is interesting. Kerry Walsh Jennings complaining that that ball may have been over the net, and she might have a good case. If the ball is completely on the United States side, that's a bit of a dangerous play. You do not want a collision. But here's the play where the ball ends up looking like it's going to go over, and Brooke Sweat looking to play it, but Clancy goes up and makes a play on the ball, and no violation called. We will play on. Point for Australia.
Well, that was a tough result for the USA. Little kiss off the net. Brooke Sweat gets one hand to it to keep the ball up. And it's the second referee that calls
net violation right there on Clancy up at the net. So
not spotted by Mariko Satomi. That's why there's one of the referees up high, but there's one right down low looking for those low net touches. Good call. Break back the America at 7-5. Again, serving Mfe Artacho. Another score for the USA. Good play from Kerry Walsh Jennings.
Kerry Walsh Jennings, perfect block. As I mentioned, a 7-time blocker of the year. She gets it done, knows how to take a lot of area.
Oh, that was so close to a kiss on the baseline. The ball just needs to touch any part of that line for it to be good. Sure whether that would be worthy of a challenge or not, but Kerry Walsh Jennings has a better eye than me.
she was eyeing it, and you know what? Look at that. That is very close. If you were to challenge that, it could have gone either way.
Good long serve from Artacho. Kerry Walsh Jennings, good block from Clancy.
And that ball squeaks through the block of Kerry Walsh Jennings right there. Just a little bit late on the press over the net, or she would have had herself yet another block. That ball by Sweat clips the top of the tape, and that ball has to be hit cleanly to get a kill. And then there you see a slight gap between Kerry and the net, and the ball just gets through. Nice pass there by Walsh Jennings, and when they pass the ball well, they are very effective. But that goes with about every team, you know, makes your offense much easier. The whole key is to be consistent with that passing and getting it to the correct location.
Brooke Sweat with service, targeting Artacho. That's a good serve. 57 kilometers per hour on the ball. It's a big topspin serve from the American. Great block from Kerry Walsh Jennings, but it's well read by the Aussies, who come back fighting. Good shot from Clancy. Good reactions as well, moving quickly on the court.
Really like what I'm seeing from both squads right now. Some high-level volleyball being played. Walsh Jennings looking really solid up at the net as a blocker. And Brooke Sweat with a lot of power to the deep Artacho. Artacho is such a great player, continues to get better. Most improved player last year in 2018. Look at the quick hands. Got to get that ball just a little bit further up in the air and give Talika Clancy an opportunity to set.
Looking to draw clear as we head ever closer to the technical timeout at halfway. Good cover from Brooke Sweat. Can she finish now? Lovely angle on the ball. That's out of play. 12-8 to the United States of America. One more point to play before we take a 30-second break. And it would be so good if the USA could go 13-8 clear. Australia need to side out here. There's their favorite shot over on 2. It works. Emphy sets up Clancy. Clancy powers it down. And that's where the Americans will need to watch carefully, because I'm sure, Dane, that's not the first time we're going to see this shot.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they were in that position. I think Carrie Walsh Jennings has to get up to that net as quickly as possible and really strike the fear in Talika Clancy. If she has an open net, Clancy at 6 feet tall jumps well. She's got long arms and she's going to hit freely in that type of a situation, and she is much more difficult to defend when there's no block in front of her.
Both the United States of America and Australia need to come away with a win in their third and final match of Pool G. Real-time body sensors giving us some valuable information on the number of kcals burned and the number of jumps for each player. Brooke Sweat up at the net, beaten by Talika Clancy of Australia.
Clancy has an advantage. That ball's a little close to the net, and wow, Clancy's coming way over to get that ball. Makes it very difficult for Sweat to get around.
Artacho the serve. Here's Kerry Walsh. Nice back set for Brooke Sweat.
So another close ball. And we may see a challenge here.
That's twice I would have possibly challenged. Let's look at our own slow-mo here. Watch for the blue line. That one's definitely out.
Yeah. There was a question, was there a touch? Was it in or out? And I think the right call was made.
Good deep serve from Artacho. Kerry Walsh tries to over on 2. Brooke Sweat puts the ball away, the lovely angle. Good shot, good play. I think it's fair to say that not only are the Australians a 7 seed against the Americans being 18 seeded players, but the Australians come to these World Championships with some impressive FIVB World Tour form. 3 medals within the last 4 tournaments leading up to these championships. 1 of each colour, gold, silver and bronze. It's no surprise at all to see Australia coming back at the United States of America in the second half of this opening set. Clancy on the attack, finds the angle inside Kerry Walsh's block, brings the scores to within 2. The United States of America still with that break advantage. The Aussie blocker, Clancy, with the big jump serve, puts it right into the net. Easy point score for the USA, now at 15-12.
You know, this one starting to get interesting. At the end of this first set, no one can really get a huge advantage. There's a nice controlled deep rainbow shot right to the middle of the court for Australia. And really equal teams, these two teams, going back and forth. Both these teams have won an event in 2019, and just a couple of weeks ago it was Australia, as you mentioned, Nick, in the last major event in Warsaw, Poland, bringing home that gold and coming into this World Championships with a lot of momentum.
Sweat tries to drop it short, it doesn't work. Clancy puts that ball perfectly down the line. That's the second time she struck that shot with perfection. Australia are within one of the United States of America.
Nice roll shot, solid rotation, the accuracy just perfect there.
Walsh Jennings with the set. That's a better shot from Brooke.
Brooke takes a look right there, goes to the outside left arm of Taliko Clancy. And Artacho was playing the angle, could not make the adjustment in time.
Brooke shot, serving Artacho. Set from Clancy, back set it is. And again, no question of a doubt that Artacho, with that rainbow shot over the top of the block, has got her eye right on position. Pinpoint play, and that's the second one in the past 4 points. Clancy now with service for Australia, trying to get back at the US. Kerry Walsh Jennings over the top, good play. Important side out for the USA to hold on to their break at 17-15.
Great recovery by Brooke Sweat. She gets there, she throws up a back set that is in perfect position for Walsh Jennings to just make a nice little poke shot.
Drop shot to Artacho. Artacho on the attack. Kerry Walsh Jennings drops off the net, but again, oh, that's 3 I have seen in the second half of this opening set. Emphy Artacho, 25-year-old that resides in Adelaide. Another shot pinpoint on the line. Here she is with service in her 3rd World Championships. Good cover from Brooke Sweat on the attack now. Look at the hustle here from Australia to keep that ball up. Spectacular play. Brooke Sweat, beautiful vision of the court, reading that shot perfectly and at a very important point in this opening set.
And give Australia all sorts of credit for keeping that alive. Just scrapping, but here's the creativity of Brooke Sweat. She sees both defenders on their heels, waiting for a heat seeker at their face maybe, and she just rolls it gently over the net. And that's an ace serve by Brooke Sweat. So right when Australia seemed to be closing the gap, Nick, it's the United States with a couple of huge plays. Look at this, right down the middle. Artacho, thinking about it, decides to watch it, and that is way inbound. You got to play the close ones.
Yeah, that plays on your mind for a while when you let those go. Brooke Sweat with service right down the middle of the Aussie court. Clancy wasn't sure whether she should go for it or not. Again, fires that into the face of Kerry Walsh Jennings. Big side out for Australia. Clancy with the service. Kerry Walsh Jennings takes it. Kerry Walsh Jennings unable to finish it. Clancy goes from serve to block at the net and puts the ball away. The last time these two teams met, it was for a gold medal in the Jiangjiang 4-star event, and the Americans came out on top, but they won it 2-0. I've got a feeling whoever takes this first set will have a strong upper hand for the rest of the match. But Clancy, Taliko Clancy's ace serve ties the scores, and that couldn't come at a more crucial point of this opening set.
Clancy, sensing the urgency, pulls an ace out of her pocket right there to the right side of Brooke Sweat. And Brooke Sweat disappointed with herself on that one. Another tough serve.
Another great shot from Clancy. Australia go to set point. What a point run this has been.
Look at this. It is Taliqua Clancy just taking charge, sensing both Americans at the net. So a deep little poke shot to the corner. And right now the United States having trouble with that first side out. When they receive the ball, they're not able to put it away. So these rallies are becoming extended, and Australia seems to be getting the upper hand. So 4 consecutive points for Australia when you thought that the United States was in control. They had a 3-point lead there, and all of a sudden they have just come back with a vengeance.
I thought the USA had got this one put to bed. And there's hindsight is a wonderful thing, Dane, but should have they have called this timeout when it was 19-all?
Yeah, they should have, because Taliqua Clancy, she's on fire. You see her ripping balls left and right, high off the hands of Walsh Jennings. Nobody at the net. She's going to crush that. And you have to contest Taliqua Clancy up at the net. She's such a powerful hitter. It's at a very high level. And Kerry Walsh has to continue to put those hands in her face.
Oh, and is that a service ace? Yes, I believe it is. 21-19. What a way to sign off the opening set by the Aussies. Even after America called the timeout. Look at this for a strike of the ball. It's a gutsy serve. Some may say a gamble, but it's a gamble that pays off and pays dividends for Australia, winning the opening set 21-19.
Not sure what happened there. Brooke Sweat knew of the capability. She'd just been aced that same area. And then Taliqua Clancy comes out of a timeout and rips it. So both teams with a couple of aces. The side out percentage, as I mentioned earlier, struggling. The United States 20%. Right now, Australia at 42%. And despite the 4 unforced errors for Australia, they overcame that with those timely aces and, of course, that higher side out percentage. But I'm with you, Nick. I thought this thing might have been in the books at about 19-16, but Australia, they had different plans. Let's take a look at Hawkeye. The Australia serve placement. Where are they going? Well, look at that. 48% going to Walsh Jennings. I don't know if that would be accurate because it seemed like Brooke Sweat got the majority of the serve. So we'll have to check on that graphic. I think a little off.
Here we go with the start of set 2. It's a must-win scenario now for the USA. And you can see that they're digging deep already, the Americans. Hitting the ball aggressively and powerfully, Australia. Brooke Sweat still can't get that ball away. Goes over on one, but it's covered by Artacho. And Australia come away with the point. Great rally, great play from all 4 players on court.
Look at this hustle. Brooke Sweat using the correct hand to extend, moving to her left, extending with the left, and then she tries a little cute play over on one. We like to call that the Ludwig here in Hamburg. Laura Ludwig, so good and efficient at doing so. Brooke Sweat does not get it down, and Australia really makes the Americans pay. The momentum has been on Australia's side for the last 6 or 7 points.
Here's Marife Artacho serving Brooke Sweat. Brooke Sweat finally gets that gap down the line and ties the scores up.
Nice hit right there, sensing Artacho not in position on the line. Great execution by Sweat.
Kerry Walsh, triple Olympic champion, serves the ball into play. Artacho. Again, good court vision from the Australian team. Reading perfectly. There's Kerry Walsh dropping off the net again. I'm not sure that's the best tactic for the Americans right now. This time it's Talika Clancy with a big serve that's been troubling the Americans throughout this opening set. Oh, she's put that in her own court. Smashes it just a little too low, maybe clips it a little too late.
You don't see Clancy do that very often, but all it is a split second, and that ball drops a few inches. It ends up in the top of the net.
Brooke Sweat for the United States of America, serving Artacho. That's been the game plan for the Americans. Well, Kerry Walsh let that one go, was convinced it was out of play. Her mistake. Australia take the lead 3-2.
Yeah, when Kerry Walsh drops off the net, see how she's backpedaling straight? I'd like to see her turn, get to the spot quicker rather than backpedaling a slower move, and that shot beats her to the punch.
That's twice she's tried to go over on one, Brooke Sweat, and it's not worked. And then Clancy goes over the top of Kerry Walsh Jennings' block to get the first break for Australia at 4-2.
Here's a good look. Walsh Jennings up, ball is over the top and down. And they're taking advantage of Brooke Sweat, trying to get it over quickly and get them off guard, but Artacho and Clancy, they really have rebounded quick. They're not out of position for long.
Good play from both the blockers. And it's Kerry Walsh Jennings that wins the second clash. That's an important side out, quick side switch with a total of 7 points on the board. But now in the opening exchanges of this second set, it's the Australians that seem to be a little more hungry and a little more dynamic out on the court. Just moving that little bit quicker, Dane.
Yeah, I love that last block, though. The Americans trying to seize a little momentum, but like you said, the momentum has been on the side of the Australians since the end of that first set, where they really ran away with it, and they've continued it into set number 2. The United States needs to do something special, and a couple of blocks will do that, a couple of digs by Sweat will do that, but they need to do it now. You're down a set. You cannot wait until the end of this first set. Wow, a trickler. Nothing you can do about that for the Americans. And Talika Clancy, you know, that's, sure, you say that's a little bit of luck, right? But we saw those 2 aces at the end of the first set. Definitely not luck, and not luck either that she was voted best server on tour a year ago. She knows how to rip that serve, and when you're good, you get a little more lucky.
That's a very good point. Well, that last serve does not go Talika Clancy's way. It's a chance for the USA to come back here. They need to start scoring on their serve as well as with their sound-out game. Look at that from Talika Clancy. At the moment, the way she's striking the ball, confident, accurate, and missing very few attacking plays right down the alley, corner of the backcourt in the X. And that is on point for Talika Clancy. 3 clear of the USA. Artacho, her partner, serves Brooke Sweat, who now goes over the top of the block. But look at the speed that Clancy turns and picks that ball up again to keep the play alive, and then spikes it home with absolute power. They look quicker, they look sharper, the Australians right now, Dave.
Yeah, they're executing. When they get opportunities, they're really winning points decisively, with power, with aggression, and they have really stolen the momentum here in this match. Oh, that's a nice shot by Brooke Sweat. A little inside, she goes off of 1 foot, and you can just tell that accuracy in the touch. She watches it all the way down. There's a great view of it. Great court sense.
Need a few more of those, the United States of America. They're still 3 behind Australia. Kerry Walsh Jennings this time serves it to Clancy. Clancy powers it down the line, pushes it out of play. Another point back from the USA. They now need to find their adrenaline, up the tempo, and start pushing Australia. The USA must win this second set, remember, to stay in the match, forcing the Aussies into a third set tiebreak. Kerry Walsh Jennings. Artacho is the target of her serve. Good cover from Brooke Sweat, who now attacks for the USA. Over the top of the block, down the line. Brooke Sweat now starts to lift her game and play a little better. You can see from the glare, the stare in the face of Kerry Walsh Jennings, there's a sense of urgency now with the American play date.
Yeah, Brooke Sweat, she's got all the experience in the world. The 2016 Olympian with Lauren Fendrick. Talked about Kerry Walsh, of course, as Artacho goes over the top of Walsh, who in that same Olympic Games 2016 got the bronze medal with April Ross, who is now playing with Alex Kleinman, and Alex and April will be up on center court here in Hamburg in our next match.
Yeah, the American fans were hoping for a double whammy here of Team USA success. There's work to do for Kerry Walsh Jennings and Brooke Sweat in the first of the two American parts here on center court in the Red Bull Beach Arena. Brooke Sweat with service. Again, it's over to Artacho. Kerry Walsh Jennings trying so hard to get that block away.
Just late. You see the gap between her and the net. She's got to be a little earlier and pressing over, and she will have a stuff block.
Oh, that's a great serve from Artacho, swinging the ball outwards away from the defender.
Talk about vulnerability. To the right side of Sweat has been the sweet spot for Australia. We've seen 3 aces over there.
It's giving them nothing but confidence. Good play from Brooke Sweat. They'll take anything they can get as we're heading close to the halfway point and the technical timeout. 20 total on the board. We'll take a 30-second break after the next point. Now, if America can go into that halfway break at 10-11, it looks a lot better than 12-9. Mission accomplished for USA. Kerry Walsh gets tangled up in that visor every 2 points.
That's kind of part of her signature. It's just that visor always flying off. Maybe it's kind of a little indicator, keeps her focused. There it is, falling off. She's fixing it midway through.
There it is, dangling off the back of the ponytail.
Didn't get to fix it that time, so I have to wait in between. That's a great shot.
Well, it is exactly right on cue. And it doesn't seem to affect her play, her focus, and as you quite rightly say, Dane, it's actually part of the game for Kerry Walsh. Great close-up shot there of Talika Clancy. Look at these Aussie stats. Service aces 4, but service errors 4, Dane. Now, as a coach, is that healthy? You like that kind of
Yeah, I don't
stats?
mind that ratio at all. For every error, I'm getting a point, because you know how it is in beach volleyball. It's more difficult to score when you are serving, so you got to take those risks, right? It's about 70% of the time the receiving team is going to win the point, so I don't mind losing a point by missed serve as long as you're balancing it out with those aces. I mean, that's a solid ratio. I'll take that any day.
3, 4, 6 kcals burned by Kerry Walsh Jennings, who serves for the USA. She's working the hardest out there on the court, but coming out of that 30-second break, Australia side out against the USA, which takes them 2 clear. It's Empe Artacho that's raised her game in the second set. Here's her teammate, Talika Clancy, 27-year-old, out of Adelaide. Now there's the first little miscommunication between the Australian players, and the USA capitalise, and capitalise quickly.
Very inside set. I like the drop from Taliko Clancy. He got the shot from the magician. Brooke Sweat, just too good.
And that ball is out of play from the Aussie Artacho. Allows the United States of America to tie the scores at 12-all. They have to win the second set to stay in the match.
And I thought they got a little too cute right there, shooting it to the outside with a little faster tempo. Sometimes when you try to run a different tempo, it's detrimental to you more than tricking the other team. Here's a free ball, and that's an issue right there. The United States has to score in that position, and they don't. The free ball situation, the ball was passed errantly, and then the United States was reeling. You have to pass that ball on point. You're not going to get that many free ball opportunities from this Australian team.
You can see the look of frustration and disappointment on the face of Kerry Walsh Jennings there. She knew that was a golden opportunity that they let slip by. Artacho serving Brooke Sweat as she has done. Well left by the American, but it's good. Well, that looked long from our perspective. We're high up at the top of the grandstand in the commentary box here in the Rottenbaum Stadium of Hamburg. But it's another ace for Emphy Artacho. Oh, well inside the line as well.
Yeah, that cannot happen. You have to play that ball, and if you're Sweat, you got to expect the ball's coming right back at you.
Another big serve from Artacho to Brooke Sweat. Good hustle from Australia to keep the ball up, but here's a chance for America to put this away. On the second time of asking, Kerry Walsh Jennings does just that. Point on the board for the Americans. Clancy not happy. Looks like there'll be a challenge.
Yeah, I think they're asking for Kerry Walsh Jennings being over the net, but it's not challengeable. He should put up the X. Here is the play right here. Artacho makes a great turn, and then Clancy puts it up close to the net, and that's where Kerry Walsh Jennings took charge. I think the Australians want an overcall, and that's not challengeable, or an open hand by Kerry Walsh Jennings, but that's not challengeable either. It will ultimately be the United States point, and there a float serve. So Clancy now has lost a little bit of focus. She yells a little bit at the referee on the side change, and that is the key to this sport. You cannot let distractions turn 1 point into giving away 2 or 3 points. So Australia needs to hold their composure here.
Kerry Walsh Jennings taking full advantage in the Australian lapse in concentration. This is where Kerry Walsh Jennings can draw on that huge experience. And I think Australia have seen enough, calling a timeout, taking a break for 30 seconds, if nothing else, Dave, just to compose themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, they got a little rattled on that play and have let 3 points in a row happen for the United States. And give a lot of credit on that last one. Kerry Walsh Jennings getting to the net quickly, getting her hands over. The only time Kerry gets in trouble is if she's there a little bit late and doesn't seal to the net. Otherwise, she is golden.
Give me something that approach and then cut inside, okay? Yeah. Okay, good job. Next pass.
Take it on the first pass, put it down the inside. Good communication. Now, have they calmed down a little? Tempers were frayed, and the USA took 3 points very quickly. Australia call that 30-second break to recompose themselves. But Kerry Walsh must keep this momentum going now, as the USA have to win this second set to stay in the match. And remember, if you win this match, you're guaranteed to go through to the elimination round. If you lose, then you're tapping on your calculator for the next 24 hours to see whether you're in that third place playoff, best of 4, or into the lucky loser bracket.
Yeah, it's not a place you want to be. You want to be in the driver's seat, right? Control your own destiny, and that's what a win here today would do.
Great cover from Artacho. Brooke Sweat was convinced she'd got the right angle there, but she gets it right down the middle and to the rear of the Australian court. Back deep court shot from Brooke Sweat takes the USA 1 point clear at 16 to 15. Right on the line.
Sweat on the outside of the line. You don't get any closer than that. Really beautiful hit by Sweat. And there's that creativity once again.
Brooke Sweat with service. Serving Artacho of Australia. Clancy with the set. Beautiful shot from MFE. Artacho. Maria Fay, originally from Peru. Now, of course, a citizen of Australia living in Adelaide. And that is a very good shot. Tying the scores at 16 all. Brooke Sweat once again targeted by the Australian serve. Well, Clancy there with the block, but not the direction with the ball she was hoping for.
Brooke Sweat again, there's the knuckle poke shot and using the block out of bounds. So smart, we call that tooling the block. When you use the block, get the ball off the block and out of bounds, can be very frustrating for the blocker.
Kerry Walsh Jennings with a lovely jump float. Oh, and that's in. Brooke Sweat was in the right position, hands were ready to play. She thought the ball was going out and pulls her hands in, and watch where the ball lands.
Yeah, she made a conscious decision not to play that, and that ball ends up in. Too many times that has happened, whether on defense or serve receive.
Is Brooke Sweat looking to make amends? Oh, and an uncharacteristic error at the net from Talika Clancy. That allows the United States of America to draw one clear.
That's a tough play by Sweat. I believe Walsh Jennings is setting that ball a little too inside for Sweat. Need to get it out to her right shoulder, so she has that power as well.
Brooke Sweat right to the middle of the Australian court. And there's a beautiful block. And that could be the turning point of the second set. That could be the point that keeps the USA in the match. Wonderful play from Kerry Walsh Jennings. And a point just when she needed it most.
She gets up early, she gets up over, and she's pressing. That is vintage Kerry Walsh Jennings.
Brooke Sweat with service. Clancy attacks for Australia. And pull a point back. Still the break advantage for the USA if they can side out on this next play with Australia serving. Artacho already with 3 aces. Great shot. Set point for the Americans at 20 to 18.
Great pass. Got there quickly. Walsh Jennings set it up nice, and you see a little power play right there by Sweat.
Kerry Walsh Jennings with the service. Clancy attacks. That's a good play from Australia. Second set point for the United States of America. As Dane has already explained to us earlier on in this match, it's easier to score your point when you receive serve rather than making it. It's a big serve from Clancy. Oh, and they've tied the scores. Well, talk about nerves of steel. Going for an ace serve when they could have given the whole set away. But the gamble pays off.
Yeah, gutsy, right? Going for it. But when you're the best server on tour, you can pull that off. And we've seen Clancy step up big at the end of both of these sets. Another troubled pass.
Oh, but Clancy puts the ball out of play. Well, what a disappointment after 2 spectacular serves to pull Australia back into the match. She then throws it away, gives the United States of America a 3rd set point, taking us into a tiebreak.
That was a huge error by Clancy. She laughed it off, but that was no laughing matter.
Brooke Sweat serves for the USA. Artacho jousts with, oh, and they pulled it back again. Australia are not letting this go. Kerry Walsh Jennings thought she'd done enough.
I cannot believe Clancy missed that overpass early on to get the advantage.
Here's Artacho with the service. Australia have been fearless with their serves. Oh, it's a service ace! And that ace gives Australia match point. Sensational strike of the ball. And the Americans cannot believe it. Can she pull it off again? Artacho, jump float, that one's way too big. And out of play, scores are tied at 22 all. But credit where it's due to Australia. With all the pressure on their shoulders, their service game has been quite remarkable. Kerry Walsh Jennings puts it into the net, too eager to get forwards to block the opposition. Match point number 2 for Australia, looking to wrap up this match at 24-22. The USA must side out here. Clancy with the service. Kerry Walsh Jennings picks it up. She now attacks. Walsh Jennings over the top, but the cover is there from Artacho. Artacho for Australia. The ball is out of play.
Oh, we're going to have a challenge because I think Australia believes there was a touch on that. And if there was a touch, this match is over.
We watch the challenge very carefully. The scoreboard says 23-23. But if the Australians are successful in their block touch challenge, the United States of America are in a precarious situation. Australia will go second in the group and qualify. And the official review says there is a touch. The ball is touched, the challenge is successful, and Australia beat the United States of America 24-22 in the second set, 21-19. What a dramatic finale to a sensational game. But it is Australia that defeat the USA. They go second in Pool G, qualifying to the elimination round. Artacho to the left, Talika Clancy to your right. Well, sweet revenge for the last time these two teams met when the Americans came out on top. Their head-to-head scores now lie at 2-2. Some remarkable serving from the Australians. We have to give a word to their coach, Kim Pittman, because the skills and drills they have worked on for their service game have come up trumps in this all-important pool match. Quite a surprise. Well, the match statistics, look at the number of aces for Australia. The USA would have been happy with their 3, but the Aussies put down 7. Kerry Walsh Jennings with a higher stat on the blocks and a 51% side-out percentage clearly demonstrates how Australia have beaten the United States of America and are confirmed a spot in the elimination rounds that begin on Thursday of this week here in Hamburg. Well, it always promised to be a very close clash indeed. Let's go down to Dame Blanton and hear more from the victorious Australian team.
Quite a finish at the end of both of those sets. I saw the frustration on your face, the overset that went out of bounds, but you guys never really wavered. A solid win. Now you control your destiny, probably winning the pool.
What was it? Did you ask something?
Yeah, how was it for you guys competing here? Now you are in complete control of the pool.
Look, We're disappointed with our loss yesterday, so we just wanted to bring out our best game, and we knew we definitely had to bring that against Brook. They're a great team, and we've had some really great battles with them over the season already, so we just really wanted to start this game to create our momentum for the tournament.
What were you guys thinking there? I know last year you got most improved player. Last year you got best server. You really proved it. Even when it is set point, you're willing to roll the dice, and that serve was a huge factor for you guys today.
This is the world champs, so you got to take those moments, and I want to be doing them now, and hopefully I want to be doing it in the grand final. So you can't just pick and choose when, so I'm just happy that Marife's with me and she gives me the license just to go after it.
A couple of weeks ago, you guys won in Poland. How much confidence did that give you rolling into the world champs?
Yeah, look, it was a great week prior to World Champs to win. It was really exciting, but you know, we came into these champs resetting completely from zero, like a new event. Yeah, and new months and new everything, and just the focus was one by one game at a time. So yeah, we'll just continue to do so in our next games.
All right, you guys, congratulations, great playing, and good luck when you get to the single elimination rounds.
Thank you, thanks.
Well, interesting words from the Australian winners there. Absolutely delighted to have beaten two of their biggest rivals on the tour. Here's the confirmation that Australia beat the United States of America 2-0, guaranteeing themselves a spot in the next round of these World Championships. 24-22 was a real battle in the second set, but Australia come out on top. So it is the Netherlands that beat both the Aussies and the Americans in Pool G, but that win for Australia guarantees them second position